it's not really too long didn't read, but too long didn't watch summary of another issue that just keeps coming up. And I don't want my refutation of the point to be buried in a 2-hour video. And others have told me that 10-minute one I did on the absolute catch-22 logical absurdity that results in the bylaws if you consider those 2 other conventions to be regular conventions. They said they found that very helpful, and people are much more likely to watch a 10-minute video than a 2-hour one. So here, TikTok, we are going to get into a false statement that keeps getting spread. Now, in saying something is false, it doesn't say you have to agree with the Judicial Committee decision in Michigan. People of good faith can disagree. But what people of good faith cannot do is misrepresent what the decision was. If you're going to disagree, at least correctly represent what the decision was. Now, hopefully now that I'm not on Safari, I can share a screen. Otherwise, I will just read it. So let me go to my desktop. There's a screenshot I want to share. Probably should have had that up first, but let's see if my computer will allow me to share this. I did share it in the longer. Yep, it will. Safari just wouldn't. So here's the screenshot. Here's what someone is saying in Discord. For anyone confused about what happened with the JC, they decided that this part of the bylaws doesn't mean exactly what it says. And the part this person is referring to is a congressional district representative may be replaced by a majority vote of a congressional district caucus at any state convention. And what this individual is saying is that the JC said that's not true, but that isn't what the JC said. This is now an outright lie because he's been corrected. I can understand a misunderstanding in the beginning, but not once you've been corrected, to refine your argument, because this is not what they said. Okay, let me stop sharing this screen. What was actually said? What was actually said is that it would be a proper item of business at any state convention with proper notice. Notice that's not the same thing. In fact, it is only the JC that is taking the words of the bylaws for exactly what they say. Yes, it's an item of business that's in order. That does not obviate previous notice, because they are operating under Robert's Rules of Order, and it also makes logical sense. What really gets me is where people are trying to do things that you have to ask, why do you, let's pretend previous notice wasn't required. Why wouldn't you want to give previous notice? Don't you want to have the most qualified applicants there to run for the position? Don't you want every party member to be informed that this election is going to happen so that they can show up if they want to? Why wouldn't you want to give previous notice? But moving beyond that, because that already makes me suspicious, just like why wouldn't you want to give due process? It is, in fact, required. So I need to take a drink. I wanted to put up on the screen the specific Robert's Rules of Order references so you can see for yourself. So we're going to share our screen again. It won't let me share Kindle. Let's try that again. Only let me share entire screen window. Oh, here we go. Okay, it will now let me share. Okay, so it is sharing my Robert's Rules of Order on Kindle, so you can see in provision, whoops, I hit 5632. If the bylaws are silent as to, excuse me, no, that's not where I wanted to go. Oh, the method of filling vacancies may also be provided. Second sentence, unless the bylaws clearly provide otherwise, notice of filling a vacancy in office must always be given to the members of the body that will elect the person to fill it. These bylaws do not clearly provide otherwise. In order to clearly provide otherwise, those bylaws would have to say at any state convention without prior notice. They do not say that. Therefore, prior notice is required. Now, you can disagree with that interpretation if you wish, but to claim that the JC just said, nope, it doesn't mean that, without saying what their rationale is, you are misrepresenting people. But there's something else I want to show you. So let's go back. Maybe we do it to here. Okay, I want to go to 4649. And I didn't have it bookmarked, but I know it's up here. We're getting there. 4649 right here. 4649 subparagraph D, if an election to fill a vacancy is held without required previous notice, action has been taken in violation of a rule protecting absentees. So this isn't just some mere procedural nicety, as I think was said by one of the parliamentarians in this case. It is protecting the rights of people. It's protecting the rights of absentees. You need to give notice so that people can decide if they want to go to this convention. For instance, particularly when we're talking about a congressional district representative, perhaps the vacancy to be filled isn't in your district. And you may go, well, I would rather spend time with my family today than go to this convention because I will not even be able to participate in this election, which is why it has to be specific notice for the specific seat. The notice cannot simply be, and we're going to fill vacancies. You need to say which vacancies are going to be filled. So, Bert, I know that's a pseudonym, and that's okay. I'm not going to out somebody. It doesn't really matter. You have now posted this multiple times after being corrected. I totally grant your right to disagree with the JC. I do not grant your right to outright misrepresent what they said, because they didn't say that vacancies could not be filled at any convention. They said they can be filled, but they need prior notice, which is clearly what your parliamentary authority says. And just using basic logic, it is obvious why that is. And just a generic filling vacancies doesn't cut it. It has to be a specific notice. I'm going to make up district numbers because I think these are some that are in Michigan, but I'm not in Michigan. At such and such convention, we are going to fill the vacancy for Congressional District Representative 13. I can read this and go, wow, that's my district. I'm going to be there. Or I could say District 1, and I'll be like, I'm not even going to get to vote in that because I'm not in that district. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to spend the money and time and money to go. Or if it says second vice chair, you'd be like, holy cow, that affects everybody. I'm going to go. So stop misrepresenting. If your case is just, you can tell the truth and still come out smelling like roses. But right now you smell like something, and it ain't roses.